Hours of 6 to 8 p.m. You and right here. WHPR 33.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I was speaking to the Muhammad team that came in.
Oh, yes, sir.
Friends. I'm going to have my real friends with me.
But you are a young man as well.
I'm talking about Mr. RJ and none other.
Well, you.
Great, amazing Friday morning to you. Such a pleasure to be with you. You are now officially tuned in to Coffee and Conversation with Colette, and you know I'm giving you my curtsy because that's what I'm supposed to do. That's what I feel that I need to do to honor you because you're so kind to tune in to the conversation. You want to be with us at WHPR TV 33, and whether you are watching us live via TV 33 or Comcast or Roku or streaming online or smoke signals and whatever it is, however
you, because you're so kind to tune in to the conversation. You want to be with us at WHPR TV 33, and whether you are watching us live via TV 33 or Comcast,
time, energy, and talent for granted. So, thank you, and great morning to you. I'm going to give you our call-in numbers if you don't have them, 313-868-0342, 313-868-0351, the 313-868-4336. Continuing on the conversation that we had yesterday, loved the energy, loved your insights as always, and I hope you felt, because I felt when I walked out of these studios yesterday, that we're just headed in a new direction. We have collectively agreed, at least that's what I came off of the conversation, that we have collectively agreed that if we didn't know we were great, our minds are open to the greatness. If we didn't just want to believe what we've been told, and you all know Friday time is our Son of Man time, the new Nation of Islam. So Son of Man has consistently been trying this, trying that, to give us different real life examples of realizing our greatness, of being able to be honest about from which we've come, whether that's from a religious standpoint, an educational standpoint, a cultural standpoint, to say that where we are up until now does not have to dictate who we will be, and that you should seize your greatness. You all know, I know that you have garnered that from the conversations with us. And so, of course, after I finish a little bit of this morning, we're going to bring him in because it sets a different tone for us as well. But you all should have felt that we are great, that you are comfortable to know that our history, and we identified individuals, Benjamin Banneker yesterday, the Reverend Hayes, forgive me, David Barton and his new book, The Settling of America in Black and White, gave us perspective. I know a lot of you just thought that Paul Revere was the only one riding. The Battle of Bunker Hill, you all only thought. But remember, that's the story that they gave us. That's his story. And so you should always question, the Son of Man says, why would you put all your eggs in one basket, be that the same person who has oppressed you is going to now teach you. He's going to give you all the full bounty, the full throttle, everything that you are, that he knows, that he was able to pull over your eyes, the wool over your eyes, the covering up of things. Yeah, I'm just going to give it to you right now, because when you realize you're great, then you know that I can't oppress you, and then you're going to walk in your greatness, and you're going to tell a different story. So the man has said back to us that, hello, you guys, stop it. Let me knock on the door. Let me let you take the red or the green pill in your truth to say Where are we? Why are we here? And there's an ownership that we have to take. But I'm going to let them tell you that when I bring them in. But I want to kind of give us an overview of yesterday. And I gave a quote, and I was so appreciative of that quote that I left us with yesterday because I wanted us to realize that at the end of the day, you have to believe and speak into existence who you are. And our quote for the end of the day was from our own Dr. Maya Angelou that says, if you're always trying to be normal, you will never know how amazing you can be. And so I charge you today, in the midst of thinking and preparing to speak with us this morning, I charge you to be cognizant of your mind and your thinking. Let me just say that, your thinking, the mind. Because the brain is different, right? So, I was just reading a book about the brain, and we talked about what that looks like. But that you have to speak into and believe that I am great. I am grateful. I am hopeful. I am encouraged. I am going to excel. I am going to incorporate action into changing my reality. I'm going to be open to listening to great minds and divine thinking that are going to help propel me. I had a couple calls yesterday, and some of you didn't necessarily like that approach. You presented to us that perhaps striving for individual greatness does not help the group. And that historically, for any time that we were able to excel, it was because we were a group. And so my charge to you was, but I have to believe that I am first before you can be a group. There was either one person that we looked to lead us. It doesn't mean that everyone in the group believed that they were great. But for example, when Martin Luther King said, and we're going to march, and so everyone followed Martin Luther King. But I venture to say that there were tons of people who questioned, because you believed in Martin Luther King and his message, you followed him. You followed the Malcolm X. You followed the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And so we are questioning today why majority of us do not follow the Son of Man, but we're going to get into that as well. But again, if it didn't come from you, you should have enough faith in what the message is being brought to you to say, you know what, I'm getting there. I'm learning to be better. And so this individual is there. And I can be better, and we can be better. But some of you yesterday didn't like that. You called in and you said, well, Colette, no, it has to be a group greatness. And so my charge was, well, you can't get to group greatness until you realize individual greatness. But whatever it looks like, and we agree that we can always disagree. But we're going to walk away from these airwaves today knowing that collectively we can be great. And that it's not because someone outside of us tells us. And it's not because we're going to wait for someone to make it great for us. Haven't we been waiting? Haven't we been waiting since slavery? Because, a lot of us believe that our existence began in the slave time. And it's true. It's sad to say, but it is. You thought that everything started with those of us who were brought over, the legacy of our family and lineage were brought over from Africa or the Bahamas or from Jamaica or from Haiti or however we got here. But then that was it. Come on. But as we talk about so eloquently on this show, that is not where we began, nor where we will end. Let me give you a quote. And I think this was great. It came from our own Marcus Garvey. A lot of you will say, okay, Colette, but here we go. If we are a people who realize our greatness from which we came, we would be less likely to disrespect ourselves. And that's where I want to start with this morning. That if indeed we realize who we really are, the essence of who we are, we wouldn't disrespect ourselves. And so I presented to us in our previous conversations was, we try to tie all this together. Normally, the way a conversation works is that you pick a couple of different topics and you keep building, right? So we keep growing and we become better because we're able to think it through. Well, several weeks ago, we talked about the homelessness and what that looks like. And so many of us didn't want to identify with our fellow man. And we didn't want to say that, that could be me. And so my charge to us was, wait a minute. You have to realize that can be you and the systematic issues that have created those situations, the personal dynamics that have created those situations, not judging those dynamics, but nonetheless acknowledging them and not separating yourself from that. Did you hear what I said? Did you hear what I'm suggesting to us? You all saw it. I gave the example yesterday of so many people who were supportive of President Trump's message when he was running as a candidate. And he said, I'm going to make America great again, and I'm going to get rid of those bad guys. And so many of you believe that in his message that what you wanted to buy into and believing the greatness meant getting away or getting rid of, away from these bad guys. But you didn't understand that, really. You didn't listen. Because did you think like the game Duck, Duck, Goose, he was going to say, good, good, bad, good, good, bad. There was going to be a group, and he was going to have the resume and the vitae of each one of them so he could go and systematically just find them and pluck them out. But you all saw, we talked about the 60 Minutes segment where you had a group of voters, well, 6 of them in a circle, and it was 4 of them who said that they voted for Trump and that they didn't understand why their friend, who happened to be Hispanic, a Mexican immigrant who was running the cafe while he was deported. They didn't understand that because he's a good guy and he's our friend. He wasn't a bad guy. Did you realize that that's not how this works? But when you want to buy into the fullness of greatness, is it based on who defines greatness? And then you buy into it because you don't ask questions. And so much so in the conversation we proceeded and ended with the wife of the gentleman who was deported who said that she voted for Donald Trump. And what did she say? At the end, I should have listened. Well, I'm charging us today that you should listen and you should think. What is it? You should watch as well as pray. Because at the end of the day, if you don't understand the sincerity and the truth of the person that you are following, if you are choosing to find someone to follow without birthing the greatness foremost in you, then he can lead you down the path of destruction. Self-destruction, you're headed for it. And we can look and give examples throughout our communities day in and day out of what wrong leadership has done. And not believing that we are great in and of ourselves, and then that greatness will identify someone who can touch your spirit, and so that you then can believe that, you know what, this is someone who's more learned than I am, divineness in them that can make us all better. So I'm going to bring them in with that introduction. These are the men that's on the line, and callers, I see you. We're going to get to all of you today as well. But I want to bring in these are the men to welcome you to the show. Great Friday to you, sir.
And the same to you, Ms. Ramsey.
Thank you. So I kind of gave an overview. I gave a little ditty this morning about asking Black America, dear Black America, are you ready to realize your greatness? What do you think about that?
Well, the thing about knowing is kind of like that quote you gave from Mr. Garvey. When you know yourself as really a, for instance, a man who does not know his own name and is not aware of his history, then he really does not know how he should be conducting himself. So the point of bringing us into the knowledge that we, before there was any other people on the earth, we were here and we were ruling the earth and governing ourselves and building civilizations. Even after we made the Caucasian people, which actually includes the brown, the yellow, and the white race. All of them are made Asians. But the white man in particular, while he was in the cave, we had civilizations going a long time, and we were the ones who sent Moses into the cave to civilize him and bring him out to rule out his time that he was given. The mind that we created in him, we wanted to be ruled under that mind to learn some things and to find out more about ourselves, because he was in us. All of them that you see are our children. the Japanese, Chinese, and the white race. No, these are all our children. They call them in the Bible the sons of Jacob. Jacob was a black man, and he was the one who had the scientific knowledge of how to separate the life germ in us and graft it out to its weakest stage, which is the pale white people. The brown man is the first new people that was made from us, and then the yellow man, and then the white man. Like that song that the Beatles sung, "We All Live in a Yellow Submarine." What that was actually saying was that the white man is submerged in the life germ of the yellow man, and the yellow man is submerged in the life germ of the brown man, and the brown man is submerged in the life germ of the black man. And you get them in that order. The black man is the only created man on the earth. And when you understand that, then we use terms that we really don't know what we're saying. Yes, black people are great because black people are God. We have a saying, God is great. Well, when the book says God said, let us make man in our image, who was the us talking? It was us, black people, our scientists. Just like the white scientists, when they say, let us go and see what's on Mars. Well, that is the white scientific community talking about doing that. And usually they have black people in the back helping them, because that's what we said we was going to do. We was going to let them have dominion. And in order to do that, we had to help him. Even his wickedness, if we had not helped him by sending prophets with righteousness, he wouldn't have made it 6,000 years. His evil would have destroyed him. So in order to respite him, we were, the reason we made him was to produce a perfect mind in us. And at the same time, by the prophets coming, kind of like antigens come in you when you notice that men that have prostate problems, they have that PSA that they check. It's called a prostate specific antigen. And it's an antibody that actually fights against some problem, some cancerous problem or some type of problem that's going on in the prostate, that the prostate is producing antibodies to fight against. And that's what the prophets were. They were anti-gens. The Bible, the Holy Quran calls the white race the jinn race. And so when you really look at the way that word antigen is made, it has a depth of meaning. And that's what Jesus, Moses, David, Solomon, all of them were anti-devils, anti-jinn. And so as we sent prophets, you notice they caused sin to go into remission. Just like when doctors are trying to treat cancer, sometimes the chemo and the chemotherapy and the radiation therapy will cause the cancer to go into remission. Well, the prophets brought sin into remission, and by causing sin to temporarily stop, that was the way of fulfilling a promise that Allah made to the devil, that he would respite him until the day that the dead are raised. and we are the dead, the black man and woman of America. You'll notice no one who came to America and who comes to America, like the Chaldeans and the people from whether it was the Jewish community, they came in the black community and set up stores and whatnot. The Chinese, the Japanese, all of them came into our communities at some point in time and set up stores in our community, and they got very wealthy off of us. But none of them looked at us and said, look, you all, we see how sick you are and how divided you are. None of them tried to help us get up. Because the minute we wake up, this world comes to an end. Now, you cannot realize your greatness until you accept righteousness. You are not going to, this world was set up to trap those of us who don't want righteousness. Let me read to you from 2 Peter. It says, this is 2 Peter, the 3rd chapter, and I'm going to start at the 3rd verse. It says, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts, their own desires, doing what they please. You know how people say, I'm doing my thing. It says, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. Who are these fathers who fell asleep? Yes, as Allah said in Genesis, a deep sleep fell upon Abram. Well, if it was on Abram, it was on his whole household, because he's the head of his household. And so we were put to sleep. And by us being put to sleep, the white race and these young races of people could rule our earth, because we were asleep to the knowledge of rulership. We left ourselves out of that knowledge purposely. And a lot of people don't know this, but we purposely erased our own history so that we could come up with something different and something new. Because everything we had tried for trillions of years, we had never been able to actually realize our full potential. And so we had got to a point like what Solomon said. He said, there's nothing new under the sun. That which has been will be, and that which will be has been. So the messenger, he taught me, he said that the white race, these young races of people were made or created. They were thought of. That's what we say when we say created. They were thought of in a vacuum of our history. Yaqub thought of how to make these people, because we couldn't come up with nothing new. So Yaqub, he had the knowledge to make something new. And that something that he, after studying life germs in a laboratory, he realized that the way the human body, the human immune system works, is that you cannot produce an antigen or a cure for a non-existent disease. The immune system will only produce antigens for a real disease. So Yaqub made the disease, he perfected wickedness and put it in a vessel. The white man, his skin does not make him wicked. The knowledge that Yaqub put in him is what made him the devil. It's like the knowledge that you put in the schools system, the knowledge that you put in these young people makes them engineers and makes them doctors and makes them lawyers and makes them all of these different things. Even the people who sitting up in jail, They sitting up in jail because of the knowledge that you put in them. These is your all of the wrongdoing people in this society is the product of this society. All of us came here as babies. So whatever we became is what you made us. So because this world could not produce a righteous man, then God himself said, I'm going to create a man of sounding clay, of black mud fashioned into shape. And so that means he's going to take one that have been into slavery. That's why Abraham's seed was so important to go into slavery, because God wanted a servant that was fashioned into the shape of a slave or servant, someone who don't mind serving. And so you got a whole nation of people over here that's so indoctrinated to serving others that they don't even think about independence. They think about just wanting a good job and a good governor, a good mayor, a good president, and just serve him. Well, no more of that. God is ready now to claim his own people back. Nobody wants you but me. That's for sure. Other people, all they want to do is rob you. They're not thinking about doing nothing for you. But you are a very valuable people. And so I'm now fighting with the whole world for you, for your salvation. That's why I have to stand up and speak the things that I speak to them, about them, in front of you and them, to let you see that if I was lying, do you honestly think white people would be letting me get away with stand up saying what I say about them? Do you think any other people who are ruling you would let me stand up in front of them and lie on them? They know I'm not lying. And so now, in order for you to realize your greatness, you're going to have to stop following white people. As long as you following white people, you nothing but the slave of the devil. That's just the truth. I mean, he ain't telling you. Remember, I told him, some of you may remember, I told him, you better tell your children the truth about black people. They're about to be destroyed. If you love them, you better tell them the truth about us, so they'll stop disrespecting us. Because we are all of y'all's fathers. That's who the black man is. He's the father of all human beings. And you through treating us like we are some inferior creature to you. We are not inferior to anyone. If you want the truth, mentally and physically, everybody is inferior to us. You couldn't have suffered. You couldn't have went through what you put us through. None of you could have went through what we went through. So I'm not here to, I'm not trying to what you call belittle people, because they are our children. I mean, that's us. The brown man is us. The yellow man is us. The white man is us. All of those people, that's us. Like the sunlight. The rainbow is the sunlight. Don't make no difference what color. Ain't no color better than the other. It's all one. And we are all one. But we have been following a wicked one. And we followed him so we could learn the end of wickedness, so that we could make judgments about wickedness. How can you make judgments about what you can't understand? Well, now I understand wickedness. We didn't just walk with our enemy a mile. We walked with him 6,000 years. And we actually became him. We let him put himself inside of us. Like they said, we are the rock of ages that let him hide himself in us. Yeah, we did that. And now we can make judgments about wickedness that no one can argue with. We can make judgments about people that no one can argue with. For every one of y'all's shoes, we have walked in them. There's nothing that any human beings on this earth have suffered that the black man in America cannot say, I understand.
That's right.
Because
we got some phone callers.
Okay.
I want to get them in because they were, as soon as we said good morning, they've been on. So we appreciate the patience. So let's bring them into the conversation.
All right.
All right. So you all said, now you heard Son of Man. I mean, you put it out there, and we're ready for the conversation. So thanks for your patience. Great morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Absolutely. Can you hear us?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. I was listening to your show yesterday, and there was a lady that wanted to get that information that you were sharing.
Yes.
I like to make sure that your audience pick up hidden colors 1, 2, 3, because they tell you the same thing that Son of Man is telling you about your history, who you are, and your identity, and your creativity, and your abilities. And so all this hidden history that has been captured and held hidden so that you wouldn't learn who you are, I would suggest that old heads as well as young heads get the knowledge to know their greatness, to know their identity and their capabilities. Because I believe that a lot of things that Son of Man has already said, I was thinking the same thing. We have taken on the behavior of our historical enemies. So we have become mimicking those bad behaviors, and we're hurting ourselves, and we're helping them to continue to hurt us. So now is the time for us to turn around and to each one reach one and teach one your greatness, who you are, where you came from, and let's take it from there to grow, to build the nation as it should go. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you so much. So, man, you know what? I have to ask you, and thinking about what the call presented to us, and thank you so much, you make a point to us that we, in order to have an experience, we had to walk along and have what we've been encountering over these last thousands of years. At what point, sir, do we have an awakening? If we are doing everything that they taught us to do down to the T, and not bringing that, part of the conversation yesterday was we worked so hard to make everything great for him. As you said, for the corporate America, we'll get the job and we'll put in, 14, 16-hour days. We're on the line 14, 16 hours a day, and we're learning and we're doing all these things, and we don't bring that information back home. And then when I say back home, it's rather in your household, right in your community, bringing those skill sets back in to give it back to us to make us better. So we have learned so much, and we do so well at following the instructions that we've been given, but we don't follow everything. To your point, if everyone knows about the history of the Holocaust and what that looks like, and the Jews will make sure we know that, and then they will still work together. So why do we keep missing that? That we're constantly learning to make everything better as they want us to, but we don't bring that part to us.
Well, the reason for that is because we really want righteousness, many of us. Because now, I understand something. The scripture says that the Son of Man will come as a thief. But many times people think because they're not doing something that is not being done. What you just said about we should go and get knowledge and bring it back to our own, we're doing that. It's just that most of our people are not interested in doing that. But it's being done. I mean, I'm like Noah. While Noah was building the ark, he was warning his people that they should be helping him. Like I warn you, all of you all that's listening to me. you should be with me, helping me to do this. It's just like when Sister said, each one teach one. That's what's wrong with us now. Everybody think they can teach you something. But no, we don't need no each one teaching one. Each one tell the others that the Son of Man is here. That's what I want you to do. I don't want you out there trying to teach nobody. You notice you ain't never met no minister of mine? The prophets were my ministers. Now I'm here myself. I don't need no ministers. I need people who are ready to be righteous and are tired of wickedness and hate it just as much as I do. Now, that's what I'm here for. And Solomon said there'd be 1 in 1,000, one man in 1,000 I would find. And that's true. Few there be that want to be righteous. That's why that 7th verse says, it says, but the heavens and the earth, which are now, by the same word are kept in store, reserved unto fire, against the day of judgment and the perdition of ungodly men. We let this white man have dominion, and we put the wicked mind in him to see how many of our people would choose evil over good. Because we want to eradicate evil from our earth. And the only way to do that is you got to find out who is more leaning towards evil than goodness. Then you put evil out there and let evil flourish. And then you offer people goodness. And everyone who has basically the hunger and thirst for goodness, they will walk away from the evil. But those who have fallen in love with evil, they will hate you for being good. And they will fight you. And, we're here to put an end to it.
You make the point about righteousness. Stay right there. You make the point about righteousness. And so we have consistently gone through this history and I guess actively have chosen that we don't want to be righteous. We don't want to be righteous. We don't want to walk in a way that will make it better for us. But let's go to the line, because I want to make sure I get everybody in, because you all are inquiring. So we appreciate the call. Thanks for your patience. Great morning to you. Are you there?
Yes, good morning.
Great morning.
Yeah, I'm old enough to remember 2 sidewalks.
Okay.
And I've walked on them. One that blacks could not walk on the upper sidewalk. They had to walk to the sidewalk next to the street.
Okay.
And my daughter and my sister traced our history and found out that the Travis was on a plantation in Alabama. So I come from the stock of slaves. And I found out that my mother, them, was raw Mississippi.
Okay.
Traced that back, found out they came from slaves.
Okay.
And when we was, our foreparents was in slavery, which the majority of the black people in America was, we lived under white supremacy. We had no work in slavery. And we came out of slavery. Under the black clothes, we still didn't have no work.
Wait, stay right there. Brother, question for Brother Turner. Do you say worth? W-O-R-T-H?
Yeah, work.
Work. Okay, so you're saying that we didn't have birth as they said it.
Psychologically.
Okay.
Psychologically, because we were totally, forced to be totally submissive. Don't show no opposition. And being in that situation, after 60 years after the direct slavery, we was in semi-slavery, sharecropping. Well, those who came to the city, like, what I think his name was G. Carter Wilson, who created the first Negro History Week, he had to prove that we contribute to America. And he brought forth individuals that contribute, talked about the music of America and the different individuals of America, as was individual black, and achieved.
Okay.
And that became our history. And in that history, at that time, was healthy because it gave us a sense of worth. And you talked about when you felt good about yourself, it's radiated and it made me feel good. Well, you remember I said when Joe Lewis knocked out a white guy, we would all run out the house and holler. In Louisville, Kentucky, we living in the same little segregated thing. We listened to the radio, and we all felt good.
Right.
And but what it done at that time, it gave us a sense of worth, and it helped us in our struggle to liberate ourselves. But it wasn't liberation. It was psychological. We needed that psychological uplifting to carry on the battle. But today, we know that physically, we are just as superior or even more fit when you look at all the sports. Okay. We number one. And even mentally, we know we had different scientists and different people. We even had a president who did not represent us, black in skin, who was Obama, we know about. Okay. And we know he went to Harvard, he could think, and so the white man is not the only one to think. So we know those things now. So we do still need to feel good about it. But what some of the people doing our history, Don, they came up and turned that psychological need into black supremacy and hate. Okay. And so therefore, the masses blacks rejected those blacks who spouted that.
Okay, you know what? Stay right there. Brother Cameron, stay right there. Because I think there are a couple of things that you put together. I want Son of Man to get a comment on that. And so, of course, we appreciate the call always. So thank you so much. Son of Man, I want you to jump into some feed, if you will, from the comments that the brothers made. From the beginning, starting off saying that we were stripped of everything, that we had no self-worth, that we didn't believe that we had self-worth until after slavery. Sheriff Copper, you heard the story. What do you have to feed back on that?
If you look at history and you view history through the eyes of a slave, then naturally you are proud of slaves who became notable under their master. I understood and I understand the history of Joe Louis and all of that, and how it made black people proud and made me proud. It made any brother proud. Jackie Robinson, when he broke into baseball, it made us all proud. But we were not struggling to be free. We were struggling to be accepted by white people. That's not a struggle for freedom. That was a struggle for recognition by those who enslaved us. We didn't want to leave them. We wanted to get with them and be accepted by them. That's nothing to be bragging about. That shows you how brainwashed we had been, how messed up in the head we were. We are people who've been mistreated, been sold and as chattel. It's treated like a commodity, treated like futures on the stock market. And we sitting up bragging that we a superstar baseball player. We didn't invent baseball. We didn't get in it. That's their thing. We want everything but freedom. The one that you should have accepted, you didn't accept. And I can tell you're still trying to suggest that Islam is racism. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't teach racism. He taught the truth. I would love to have a conversation with you point for point, rather than sitting up just saying a bunch of stuff and as though, I don't like talk shows. I like to, when I'm talking, I would like, anytime I say something that you disagree with, that's the time to stop me. Stop me right there. So we can discuss that. Because you can't and I can't remember everything that we disagree with that a person is saying if we just let them keep talking. Yeah, so when I disagree with you, I'm disagreeing with your point that you a view that you may have. I'm not hating you. I'm arguing the point that you was bringing up. But most of us, when we disagree with a person, we hate the person. You backwards, and it's going to take me to straighten it out because the rest of you can't even see it. The only you're gonna get mad at me for saying this, but you go away and think about it. It ain't but one member of your body that can hear, see, and speak, and that's your head. All the other members, they just feel, and the head empathizes with their feeling. You notice a lot of times if you just listen, it ain't hard to figure out who is who. If you just listen, when I'm speaking for us, have you ever noticed I articulate things that you felt and never knew how to put into words, some of you? But I feel it too. But I can not just feel it, I can do something about it. When I say I can do something about it, I'm not speaking of me as an individual. I'm talking about I have the solutions that if you would work with me, we together can put a stop to all of this mistreatment that we have suffered and are still suffering. That's what I'm telling you.
Stay right there for me. And look, and everyone, I'm going to give you a charge because this is amazing. Our time is up, right? The time is up for this segment right now with the Son of Man. Son of Man asks all these calls, all the lines are lit. Are you continuing the conversation today? Tell us a little bit about what we should expect later on this evening. And I'm charging everyone, please, take the same time and energy that you're giving with us this morning to call in tonight and have the same conversation with the Son of Man in the new Nation of Islam. Please, sir, talk about what we should expect this evening in the next minute.
Well, the main thing is we're going to be speaking on the righteousness of God. Every meeting that I have is called a scriptural discussion with the Son of Man. Earlier you asked the question, what is righteousness? Well, righteousness is right here in the Holy Bible and the Holy Quran. Though the Holy Bible says it is for instruction in righteousness. All scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be thoroughly furnished unto all good work, or every good work. This is what I always do before I do anything. I check with the Word of God to make sure that what I'm doing is not something that's going to wind up being evil. You can have good intentions, but that just because you have good intentions don't mean that everything you do is good. You have to be able to know the difference in good and evil. It's one thing to know how to build something, but it's a whole nother thing to know whether or not that thing that you're going to build should be built. You see, and that's what this world never learned. That's why all of the things that this world has built is turning out to be destructive to the people who built it, as well as the people who using it. And so it's time now to make up your mind what you want to do. If you want to be righteous, then wanting to be ain't gonna get it. You got to know how to follow the instruction in righteousness, and the only teacher for that is me. The scripture teaches you that when the Spirit of truth has come, he's the one that will guide you into all truth. That's me. And you notice now, that's a bold statement. I know that. It would be arrogant if it was not true. But I defy you to get any group or any individual to come in and have a civilized conversation with me and prove that I'm not what I claim to be. I welcome them to come in. I welcome you to set it up.
We welcome them to come in tonight. I want to.
Yes, at any time.
At any time, and specifically, you all know you can go to the New Nation of Islam. There's a website there. I know that we have some call-in numbers for the meeting. Son of Man, you want to give those before we?
Okay. The HD conference room is area code 712-770-4160. And the access code is 869-571. And you push the pound key. Again, that's area code 712-770-4160. The access code is 869-571, and you push pound. Then the regular conference room is area code 712-432-0075. And the access code for that one is 912-932 pound. Again, that's area code 712-432-0075. And the access code is 912-932 pound. And our meeting starts, and this is all Eastern time that I'm finna give you. 9 p.m. on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So you know we'll be on tonight. And on Sunday, it starts at 12 noon. And that's Eastern Standard Time. I live in the Central Time Zone, so it's 8 o'clock on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and 11 o'clock on Sunday. But I want you to feel free to argue with me. I don't get angry when people have disputes with me. The only thing angers me is when people feel like they need to be cussing and swearing and going on when you don't do that in religious services. You just don't do that.
We don't do that at all. But I mean, you couldn't have said it any better. Our time has come to an end on this day, but I give everyone the opportunity to call in tonight so we can continue the conversation of righteousness. Sir, it's always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for your time and your energy and your enlightenment and your continued commitment to us, even as we are evolving to accept our rightful role in the support of you, the Son of Man of the New Nation.
Well, I thank you for having me on and being so cooperative, sister. I know that everything that I say does not register, even with you right away. But at least you are willing to hear and think about it.
Yes.
And as we do that, we will come to a common ground, because you're going to realize, all of you going to realize pretty soon, I'm on your side. I ain't your enemy.
You're always on our side, sir.
Yes,
our time is up today. I want to give you all just these last words again from Marcus Garvey. The black skin is not a badge of shame, but rather a glorious symbol of national greatness. Everyone is in us. Son of Man has given us the charge to keep it forward tonight, and make sure you continue the conversation. Thank you so much for spending this first hour of us with us on Coffee and Conversation with Sledden. But you're not going to touch that dial. You're not going to go anywhere, because it's Solution Friday as well. So I got some women who are in